Hi guys, and welcome back. It's Friday, June 25th, and what we're looking at right now is these guys, the Fort Apache sets. Now, if you remember, the one I did outside, I was questioning whether these were MARX molds, and I said, I thought they were dime store soldiers. What I mean, cheaply made soldiers, because MARX had a quality to it that surpassed a lot of other toy companies. Louis MARX was the toy king from the 20s all the way up to 1972. So I was doing a lot of investigation. So that's why this video took so long to do. And what I learned was Louis MARX was born in 1896 in Brooklyn. And he used to work for a gentleman named Ferdinand Strauss. And he worked with him from 1912 to 1916. And he was basically he started off as an office boy and then worked his way up to managing one of the branches of Strauss's 10 mechanical toy companies. Now, in 1916, Strauss let MARX go. So Louis MARX was basically fired in 1916, and he joined the US Army in 1917. And of course, 1917, you know what was going on then. We had the First World War, the Great War was going on. So Louis MARX joins the US Army and gets promoted to sergeant, and in 1918 he is discharged, and in 1919 he opens up his own toy company called Louis MARX and Company, and he basically bought a couple of toy patents from his former boss, Mr. Strauss, and started making some good money on that. So, from 1919, Louis created probably the best toy company in the world at the time. And his little toy, I shouldn't say little, but his toy empire stretched from 1920 to 1972, and it was worldwide. Now, he created all these conflict battle sets like Fort Apache, Battleground, Davy Crockett and the Alamo, the Civil War sets, Blue and Gray, the American Revolution, the War for Independence, and he did a lot of oddball stuff too. Like dollhouses and the M-Bar Ranch, Roy Rogers Ranch, and all that neat stuff. But I wanted to focus on the Fort Apache. And the reason why I wanted to do that was I was trying to figure out where these guys came from. Where those soldiers in particular came from. Opposed to the ones I'm going to set up for you right now. Opposed to these guys right here. Right? So these three right here came with the set, which came with the original Fort Apache, and there's so many of these. So it came with that set there. Now, what ends up happening is we get a mix of these blue guys right here. So where did they come from? So, 1972. MARX doesn't have anybody to take over his toy industry. Nothing. He's got nobody to take over and run the business. So he decides to sell. And what he does is he sells to Quaker Oats. Quaker Oats Company is tied in with Fisher-Price Toys. Now, Quaker Oats didn't like the conflict sets. They didn't like the violence. It wasn't what they said. It wasn't what they were about. So they stopped making these sets. So in 1972, Quaker Oats purchases MARX Toys and stops making the Fort Apaches, the Battlegrounds, the Davy Crockett's, the Civil War set, the blue and the gray, which I'm piecing together a set right now, and I'll show it to you. So MARX sells his company. Quaker Oats says, "All right, we're not gonna do this anymore." So they start making the battle sets, and that was 1973 to 1975. So within 2 years, the Quaker Oats Company destroys what MARX put together with his toy company. So they are losing millions and millions of dollars. So they decide to get rid of it. So in 1976, Quaker Oats sells off most of the MARX toy line to a London-based group toy company called Dunbee-Combex. So Dunbee-Combex purchases the MARX molds and material in 1976, and in 1976 to 1978 they start producing these sets again. However, as hard as Dunbee tried to make it work, Quaker Oats destroyed it so bad that there was no coming back from it. So Dunbee and Combex ends up trying to salvage some of what they're doing. So in 1978 they auction off a lot of the MARX line holdings, the warehouses, the storage where they had the prototypes, all the toys. That doesn't help. They're still sinking. They're like the Titanic. They hit the iceberg. There's no way. The iceberg is Quaker Oats, and MARX Toys is the Titanic. And no matter what Combex does, whatever Dunbee and Combex try to do, this ship is going down, and it's going down head first. So now what ends up happening, in 1981, Dunbee-Combex files for bankruptcy. And in 1982, Chemical Bank of Connecticut takes receivership of all the MARX assets and properties that are left over. Now in 1986, a gentleman named J. Horowitz walks in. He is the owner and founder of American Plastics Incorporated. It's a toy company, and he purchases all these molds from all these different toy companies that are going out of business. So now what happens is J. Horowitz buys all these toy companies like IDEAL Toy Company, Multiple Products Corporation, or MPC Toy Company. Now MPC actually had those soldiers right there in their lineup. And they were also a byproduct from IDEAL Toys. So when Horowitz picks up IDEAL Toys, which actually made this, if you remember, I thought this was part of the Zorro set, but no, this is actually a 1950s IDEAL toy that came in a bag with about 10 or 20 Mexicans and Texans. And there was a red gate here for the Alamo. This is actually the MARX John Wayne set, but these two pieces actually came in a bag with about 20 of the Mexicans and the Texans, and that's what that set was. So that's actually an IDEAL Alamo toy set that came in a little plastic bag. So that's what that was. So now we're getting back to Fort Apache. So now what happens is Horowitz buys all these things. So he produces this right here, which has the MARX logo, because in 1988 he actually buys all the intellectual property from MARX. So you have this play set right here, which was a runoff from this, and that's a great. If you can find this play set, pick this play set up, because if I have enough time, I'm going to run through it. So these things right here were from that play set, and you can see it. I'm going to pull it out. This is the same box set. So that's what that is. Now, after that's, so these molds right here are actually MPC. They're not MARX. The Indians are definitely MARX molds. And these soldiers come with that set right there. So these are MPC. That's where they came from. So now, this fort set, I picked this up for $20, $30. It was, the box was destroyed, so I actually I cut the box apart and use hard Mod Podge to just put it to this base right here. But I wanted to show you something. So this, what happens now is Horowitz decides to loan out the molds or rent the molds to other toy companies that want to produce this set. And that's what this is. This is a 2003 Fort Apache set, and it does have the MARX Indians right here. There's the MARX Indians, but those are MPC soldiers. So these are all MARX molds. So this is an original MARX toy group, but reissued in 2003 by Toy Street. A little cheaper version of it, but it's still MARX and MPC toys. Now, if you can find this one, which is the J. Horowitz issue, this one actually has the blockhouse, and I'm going to show it to you. The blockhouse is right there. So this set right here comes with the captain's quarters and the blockhouse that sits right there. With, I gotta show you that. I gotta open this up and show it to you, because wait till you see it. So, what was really cool about this set was this. Right, here's the MPC, right? These are the MPC soldiers right here. Right. Here is the MARX Indians. The horses and teepees. The blockhouse. The certificate of authenticity signed by J. Horowitz. Here they are. This is what I want to show you. So we've got the captain's quarters and everything else. We've got your little doodads and slew of the little recruitments, gun belts and stuff like that. But this is what I want to show you right here. This was pretty awesome, because what we're looking at here is the original molds. They must have found them, because what happened was, if you noticed, that the Cavalry was actually replaced all the MARX molds with the MPC molds. But in this set right here, you got the original 45 millimeter US Cavalry that came in the Fort Apache, and I believe in the early 50s. That's them. That's a recast of the early 1950s 45 millimeter before they came back with the 54 millimeters. They had the 45 millimeters, and that's what these are. And I couldn't believe it. It's in this set right here. So that's it, guys. So my quest to find out where these guys came from took me 2 weeks to figure everything out. So I hope you enjoyed this little stroll down memory lane, and I'm going to try to end it as soon as possible. And I will catch you guys out there. Take care of each other. Be good to each other. It's a crazy world. And till you next time. Ciao.